A Georgia State student is recovering from a stabbing wound after an ongoing dispute right here on campus. What some students are saying about this chilling assault. And hundreds of protesters marched their way to the state capitol for hopes of stricter gun laws. What they want to see changed, coming up on this episode of Panther Report News. Good evening, I'm Breana Albizu, and welcome to another episode of Panther Report News. We have a lot to get to on our show today, so let's get started. We're following a developing story that happened right here on campus early Tuesday morning. A confrontation between two students at the Piedmont North Residence Hall left one student with several stab wounds, all apparently after an argument over a certain friend, many sources who believe to be a girl. Reporter Kevin Sanchez has more of the details.
A confrontation between two students at Georgia State Residential Hall, Piedmont North, left one student with several stab wounds and both charged.
Like it happened to a student here inside the building and by a knife, no less. I think that's crazy.
Early Tuesday, both Georgia State University and Atlanta police departments reported to Piedmont North regarding a stabbing. Before the incident, the student who stabbed the other had spit on one of their friends. When they found each other in the laundry room, a verbal altercation took place, leading one to start swinging and the other to pull out a paring knife to stab the other several times. The student stabbed was left with the witnesses who tried to keep them apart, while the other went to the lobby and was soon in custody. When told the reasoning behind the incident, residents like freshman Aaliyah Bowers said the altercation should have never escalated.
I feel like that was a bit much for this to be an altercation of a girl that's beyond what it should have even escalated to them.
Georgia State University Chief of Police Joseph Spillane says both students currently face suspension.
There'll be a code of conduct hearing. They've been interimly suspended from the school. So we're not sure what the future looks like. That's going to be really up to the Dean of Students to determine.
Chief Spillane says GSUPD will respond to calls, but university housing has more of a role in identifying weapons where GSUPD is limited.
From the police department standpoint, we'll continue to respond when we have pro staff or RA call us with issues in the room. So the police are limited in what we can do in a room. We don't have any right to go search a student's room. That's between pro staff and housing.
Freshman Destiny Mercado, who knew the person injured, tells her thoughts when the news first broke.
I think it just reminds me of other violence on school campuses, not even just college campuses, that someone you know or even a student could harm another student in a place that you're supposed to feel comfortable and safe.
The student injured faces charges of simple battery, while the student in custody faces charges of aggravated assault. GSUPD encourages others who may know further information to contact 404-413-3333. Outside of the Piedmont North building, I'm Kevin Sanchez for Panther Report.
17 people were killed in last week's horrific Florida shooting, making it one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. Undoubtedly, this incident leads many students to wonder, how safe is Georgia State from a mass shooting? We spoke to Chief of Police Joseph Spillane, who tells us how his team would prepare.
We take a really proactive approach in both our training and our interaction with people who may be in crisis. The majority of our officers down here are trained in crisis management, are trained in crisis intervention techniques, and are also trained in active shooter. So, we feel that we're as prepared as we can be, but we're still ongoing training and deploying various types of techniques out there that we can go in an active shooter situation and stop the threat.
And Parkland, Florida isn't the only place paying homage to the shooting victims and their surviving families. If you take a look around campus, you will notice signs posted like these. Names of the 17 victims are displayed on these signs, honoring their lives and reminding people to never forget. Some of the signs are even displaying political messages, calling for people to take action and participate in a movement to end gun violence. Hundreds of people chanted and marched all the way to the doors of the state capitol in a rally to bring awareness to gun violence. Various groups like Moms Demand Action took their concerns to the forefront Wednesday to confront lawmakers about reforming gun laws in Georgia. Groups can be seen entering the building in efforts to get a more direct response from government officials and to make their presence known. 1913 is the year Georgia State started collecting memories of its own, but the Phoenix collection at the Anthropology Department seeks to expand beyond that. We turn back to reporter Kevin Sanchez, who has more of the story.
Since 1913, Georgia State University has been collecting memories of its own in Atlanta, but now the Phoenix collection at the Anthropology Department seeks to expand that.
Even though they're trash from the past, they're irreplaceable.
More than 100,000 materials that were excavated during the construction of the MARTA in the 1970s are housed at the Phoenix Project Lab at Sparks Hall. Dating as far back as the Civil War, Dr. Jeffrey Glover, curator of the collection, says the pieces build a bigger picture of the way Atlantans used to live.
Really kind of speaks to sort of consumption practices. You know, what were people buying? We have shoes that people are wearing. You begin to see kind of the birth of that global economy.
Everything from old Coca-Cola bottles to creepy doll heads is a part of the collection.
We call it the creepy doll head just because, you know, these sort of hollow eyes and the all the basically stuff that got burned onto and adhered to it. But it's a little like porcelain doll baby, would have been a little kid's toy, right? Over 100 years ago that ended up in, again, the city of Atlanta dump site.
Sorting through the pieces can seem like a hassle, but Karen Medina Lomba, a research assistant that works alongside Glover, helps with forming a new numerical system.
We assign what we call a Phoenix number. It's a new numeration that identifies the item specifically going to the site or the construction unit. So we have, like, we'd say, a universal way to classify everything.
Showing Atlanta in a contemporary perspective, the collection also gave students at the Student Innovation Fellowship Program a chance to work with the pieces.
Some of these 3D models are being dropped into a virtual Atlanta from 1928, or essentially late 20s, that's being developed by other folks here at GSU.
From the Anthropology Department, I'm Kevin Sanchez for Panther Report.
As Black History Month comes to a close, we would like to recognize a little-known fact with one of Georgia State's most prominent buildings. Centennial Hall was home to the headquarters for the Atlanta Life Financial Group. It was one of the most prominent African-American businesses in the country. Centennial Hall sits right across the street from the historic Auburn Avenue Research Library. Georgia State bought the financial group building in 2012. If you know your Atlanta history, you should know that Centennial Hall isn't too far from the historic Apex Museum. The museum promotes cultural awareness and recognizing the social contributions of African Americans in Georgia. The Apex has a ton of artifacts dating back hundreds of years. It's a highly popular tourist attraction to many new residents in the area, like this Chicago native.
It's Black History Month, and I wanted to bring my 4 grandchildren here along with myself. Because we are new residents to the Atlanta area, and of course Black history is definitely of interest to all of us, and I need, especially my grandchildren, to be introduced more and more with the information about our history.
If you're looking to have some of your work featured, you may want to check this out. The Amazon Atlanta Initiative launched Thursday in an effort to demonstrate culture, labor force, and the community collaboration Amazon needs for its new headquarters. All you need to do is create a 1 to 2 minute video highlighting Atlanta's initiative spirit and thriving community. Now, listen up. The deadline for video submissions is March 9th. Visit the Amazon Atlanta Student Initiative Facebook page for more information. You can also email them at emeryamznatlanta@gmail.com. The African Student Association hosted a dance showcase Saturday celebrating African culture and featuring performances with African-inspired dance moves and music. Reporter Juan Parker went to the fun-filled event and has our story.
I hope you brought your dance shoes because today is a high energy showcase featuring some of the hottest African dance moves. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this.
The African Student Association has been working hard to piece together the dance show they are calling Fatal Temptations. On February 17th, 2018, students filled the Student Center Ballroom to witness dance, spoken words, and various skits.
First, you'll see a lot of dancing, of course, because we're like the main performers, but you'll also see special guest performers like from stepping to singing, spoken word.
The show kicked off with high energy that made everyone in the room move to the beat before transitioning to a resonating spoken words piece.
Should I continue?
Yes.
I don't think I should, but let me reiterate
The performers shared their favorite part about being a dance team and what it's like to plan an entire event from start to finish.
I like the crowd's energy. I mean, I give energy at every practice, but but at the actual show, like adrenaline rush, that is, man, it's over the top. I love it. I love it.
The team has awesome chemistry and agreed to show me a few dance moves. I got a chance to sit down with some of the ASA performers who shared some of their best dance tips.
Energy, because with African dances, it kind of looks weird if you don't have a right type of energy. So if you have energy, even if you are doing it wrong, it will still look like you're having fun and enjoyable.
One could definitely sense the pride and effort that went into planning this showcase. Each performance was captivating and had something special that touched each of the audience members. From the Student Center Ballroom, I'm Juan Parker with Panther Report.
I'm sure Juan had a great time with that story. Thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you next Friday with another episode of Panther Report News. In the meantime, free to follow us on Twitter at Panther_report and subscribe to our YouTube channel at GSTV Panther Report. Also, be on the lookout for an exclusive interview with entrepreneur and brand consultant Damon John. You may even know him from a little-known ABC show called Shark Tank. I'm Breana Albizu. Have a great weekend.